I don't ordinarily share what I'm having for lunch. However, today I've got this gallon jug of this deep dark chocolate milk that's Accurate Arms 3100. Once in a while I come across stuff like this and I'm going to check it out because this is going to be an older jug of powder. If it's okay, if it is, I'll buy it and then I'll resell it. But if you saw the earlier video where I talked about how to tell if powder is okay, if not, let me go over a quick review. It still retains this, and you can see it through the plastic, right? It still retains that very dark gray, blackish type color. And when I roll it around, I'm noticing that it's flowing. It's not clumped up. And there's no rust color or red type hues in there to tell me it may be circling the drain. Now, this container has never been opened, so when I go to smell it, I can faintly smell what I expect to be the odor of powder. When powder starts to go bad, it develops a very off odor. It's kind of like meat. I mean, you don't even have to look at the steak. If a steak is going bad, you know it without even seeing it. Same thing with powder. If you know what it smells like when it starts going bad, your brain will tell you something's very wrong here. But it's sealed, so I'm not going to open it until somebody comes in and says they want to purchase it because I'm selling it cheap. I get this stuff cheap, I sell it cheap. Someone's going to get a smoking deal at 10 bucks a pound on this. But we open it together, smell it, make sure everything's good. Now we have a data sheet that came with it. Now this is typewritten, so I'm guessing it's 1970-ish. So if you are a person who's been doing this a while, you may purchase the Hodgdon Annual Manual that comes in like a magazine form. Several years ago, Hodgdon on the cover was showing a fella with a 12-pound container, a keg of a rifle powder that he'd purchased in the 50s, and he was still loading out of it, and it was still just fine. See, if powder is stored properly, you got the lid on tight and whatnot, this stuff is going to last longer than we will. So as long as you know what you're looking for, you can get a smoking deal on powder, and it's perfectly safe to use. If not, you got fertilizer, you got fire starter, you know, something like that. But comparing the data sheet that they have here with what I found in Lyman's 48th edition, because in this data sheet you only get one load. Now remember, when you have data and there's only one powder charge listed, that's always maximum, and you reduce that by 10% and there's your starting charge. So if there's not a minimum and a maximum, you got one's always max. Reduce it 10%. So what I've done is compared some of the data that's on this type sheet that I'm guessing is from 1970-ish. There's no actual date on anything that I can see. So I compared that with published data, and I turned to the back of the 48th Lyman, and I was looking at the burn rate chart because I wasn't certain I was remembering this appropriately, so I'm double checking myself. So as I go in order from their burn rate chart, we got like Vitavore N560, IMR 4831, Accurate 3100, Reloader number 19, H4831. Okay, so that puts you in the general burn rate area so you understand what this is designed to do, the cartridges. Now on this data sheet that they provided with the powder, we have data for 458 Win Mag, 375 H&H, 338 Win, 7x57, which is 7 Mauser, 300 Win, 300 H&H, 30-06, 308, 7mm Remington Magnum, 7x57, 7 Mauser, 270, 264 Winchester, 257 Roberts, 25-06, 243, 22-250. It's a very versatile powder. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And when I get this stuff in, I get a good deal on it, so I turn around and I flip it for like 10 bucks a pound. So someone's going to get a smoking deal. But don't be afraid when you come across an older container like this that's in a cardboard box with an old label on it. You know what to look for to make sure the powder's okay. You can double check for published data that's been out there. That's why we don't throw away old reloading books, right? We hang on to them because it has since been discontinued, but that doesn't mean you can't use 8 pounds of powder, which is going to give you quite a lot of fun. So you can double check with what their data sheet says against the published data, and after you've satisfied yourself that the powder is okay, load some up, do some load development, and go out and have fun. Happy trails.